Well, gosh, I don't know if I can celebrate myself.
Hey, hi.
I'm not sure. Isn't that egotistical? I'm not really good enough to celebrate myself, but I'm going to tell you something. If God is all there is, how many of you believe that? We teach it every Sunday. If you're not there yet, just fake it. God is all there is, and God is love, and we are made in the image and likeness of God. Then what are we made of? Okay, let's try this again. God is all there is. We all raised our hand on that one. God is love. If we're made in the image and likeness of God, then what are we? Love. Got it. Now, if you don't have something to celebrate now, really, because we're made in the image and likeness of love. That's the stuff we are made of. The energy vibration of love is at the core of our being. Wow. How blessed we are. Spirit withholds nothing from us. We've been given it all. But we have to work with it. That's the hitch. We've been given free will, and we can decide not to work with it or to work with it. Now, the most perfect book for this Sunday from Ernest Holmes, I think, is this thing called You. And every page of it is just filled with prayers and affirmations and reminders how wonderful this life is that we've been given, the potential, the excellence, the genius we have within that's wanting to break out and be recognized and awakened. Now here's a page, just one little excerpt on page 25 of a several hundred page book that speaks, and when Ernest Holmes writes, he's writing as if God is speaking. And he says, all right, little man, little woman, the game is yours. Play it as you see fit. Free will. I'm going to serve you, but don't fool yourself. I'm going to serve you, but don't fool yourself. I'm going to reflect right back to you exactly what you are expressing. Do you get that part? Okay, good. If you don't like what's happening, I'm not going to be disturbed. You are the arbitrator of your own faith. You are the captain of your soul. I have given you all. I have implanted freedom, individuality, and self-choice within you. Through learning and experience, you will learn a better, wiser way. In time, everybody will learn a better and wiser way. Because we're on this journey of unfoldment, awakening, recognizing, owning who we really are. It's how quickly you decide to learn that matters. It's how quickly we decide to learn, how much we practice. In our practitioner class, our practitioner 2 class, we're reading a wonderful book called Mind Over Medicine by Dr. Lisa Rankin, and she's a medical researcher. And she writes about how amazed she is, the power of mind over our bodies, the power of mind that can change our DNA, that can change our experience, that can heal us. She says the one issue, the one little problem here, it's not just our conscious mind. She said because we're thinking with our unconscious, which is 95% of our mind, with our unconscious mind, the healing we do to heal our beliefs and our thoughts, to embrace healing and health, has to go deep and very deep. And we talked about that last week, that this journey of healing our mind, because we're these creative, productive beings, but it's the total sum of our mind. So we have to get our practice through classes and workshops and affirmations and visioning and prayers and everything you can think of that we can do to keep our mind purifying that subconscious mind which has collected all the gluck that we don't want. So we can release it and purify it by keep adding the goodness that we know is true. She goes on, to effect lasting changes in belief, you must change your beliefs not just at the level of the conscious mind, but in the subconscious mind also. many of us have lost a lot in this external experience. But we've never lost our true self, ever. Kirk and I were reminded this week when Kirk received a birthday note from someone that's really, really dear to our soul and our heart, somebody who's been very, very important to us as a mentor, a friend, a teacher, a guide. And she's experiencing Parkinson's right now. And we've watched the journey for a while. And she's losing some of the things on this physical plane. And in the note it said she could no longer walk without help of a family member. But what she's never lost is the grace and the knowing of who she really is. And when we know who we really are, when we connect with our true essence, whatever happens in this physical realm, we deal with it with grace, with ease, somewhat. Doesn't mean we don't pout and scream and have our fits sometimes. But the grace and ease and joy show up because that's the buoyancy that carries us along. Within every one of us, there is a tremendous energy that doesn't just come from great green drinks, although those are really good, or yoga, or exercise, or all the good things we do for ourselves. That tremendous energy within us is the life spring, the wellspring of God's livingness. It's that love, that vitality, that energy that's always in us. If you and I, for somewhere in our journey, got this convoluted idea that this physical world is all there is, then we're going to be controlled by our physical experiences. We're going to be controlled what happens to us out here. It was in Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. He made this little analogy I thought was so perfect. He said, some of us walk around like we have a thorn in our arm that's hitting on a nerve. And we block this unbelievable goodness that is ours because we are letting our mind tell us that it's the external world that controls us. And our ego will do anything to keep the wounded parts of us safe. Have you noticed? And we start blocking out life. We won't go places where we might hit the thorn that's already causing so much pain. And we start shutting down and closing off to life because we don't want that pain to hurt anymore. Now, it may be a pain in the arm. It may be a pain in the heart that we can't see. But we're not here to close down life. That's the ego that wants to do that. We're here to open up and express life. And when we choose to open and not close, we can recognize, oh, I can take the thorn out. Darn, I didn't realize that. I can repackage, reframe, I can add understanding to this pain to make it not the most important thing in my life. You see, when you focus on the thorn and the pain, your problem becomes your life. Have you ever been there? Haven't we all? We get to those places and we hear ourselves repeating the same wham, wham, wham over and over again like a broken record. That's the thorn. And that's when we have some serious work to do to realign ourselves with who we really are. I want you to repeat this after me. Struggle is not God ordained.
Struggle is not God ordained.
Okay, some of you meant it, some of you weren't quite sure. But struggle doesn't mean hard work. Hard work is part of this journey of life. We are here to work hard, play hard, rest hard, whatever it is. We are here to do all of that in a focused, intentional way. Struggle is not God ordained. Struggle comes when we're closing down and pushing away life. Do you know what I mean? When we push it away and we don't remember that life is always for us. Life is always, always for us. If we're having the things to celebrate or the obstacles and struggles to deal with, life is always leading us to better and wiser ways to live and to remember who we are. It was Mark Nepo who said, "To be broken is no reason to see all things as broken." We may feel broken sometimes in life, but it doesn't mean that we have to think everything is broken. We can ask, what am I to learn from this? And one of the questions, now, I felt myself several times this week pushing on life, getting defensive or reactionary. Do anybody else know those feelings? Oh, you can feel yourself starting to fight life. And you can ask, am I struggling or not? Now, not struggling doesn't mean not speaking your truth or not being honest. That's not it at all. I speak my truth, but I own it. And I'm honest, and I own it. But when I'm getting defensive or reactionary, am I struggling? What am I to know? Because a wise person, somebody who's really wise, and we're all on that journey of being wise people, has a practice to keep them centered or get them back centered. So when they feel defensive or reactionary, they can start letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Just breathe with me on that one. Just letting go. And that can be, the breath can be an easy practice to get you back to that place of being centered instead of reactionary and defensive. But in the place of being centered so you're not struggling with life, where you can learn, okay, these obstacles have something for me to learn. These obstacles are here for me to grow. Because this whole life is about growing and becoming more of ourselves, never less. It doesn't mean that we don't slip and fall and forget who we are at times. We just get up quicker. How many of you have ever either participated or watched the beautiful growth process of a crystal? Beautiful. Now, in order for a crystal to grow out of nothingness, it needs to be absolutely saturated in the proper right materials for growth. Now, this is a little beautiful video that I'm just going to show. It's time-lapsed. It doesn't happen this fast. But it just shows the beautiful awakening that is our path. You and I are born to tap that genius, to lean into that genius within. To celebrate that goodness, inherent love and light and wisdom in us, that we may grow and expand. Do you feel the grace in this? Do you feel the peace and the harmony in this? It doesn't mean it doesn't have to work. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to grow, but to get the right elements, to get the right solution for us to grow, many of us need to have a new language for ourselves. And how many of you have ever learned a new language? What does it take? What else? Work, time, practice, patience. Those were all the things I had. That's what it takes in order for us to become and celebrate the fully activated beings we're meant to be. But it doesn't mean we can't love the practice. Listen, what if we saturate ourselves with wisdom and truth and beauty and love and compassion and understanding? Even if we didn't get to this point yet, wouldn't the process be wonderful? Wouldn't it feel good to be in that solution and be growing? Wouldn't we be more forgiving of ourselves and others? It's our choice. And for me, it's about willingness to grow, willingness to do the work, and the absolute awareness where we can stand aside from ourselves and go, oh, look, you've temporarily forgotten who you are. How quickly are you going to wake up? Let's see. And then watch the process. I love to teach and share with the parables of Jesus. Jesus the mystic, Jesus the way shower. I love to teach and practice and learn and share the parables because They're so beautiful. They really meet you wherever you are in this path of growing in awareness. And I'm going to share one of the parables that shows up in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and the Gospel of Thomas. And it's about a farmer who is scattering seeds. And he or she scattered seeds on 4 different types of soil. Now the seeds are like the creative thoughts in our mind, the creative, productive thoughts in our mind. We can think about where are we scattering the seeds of our powerful thoughts. What kind of soil are they resting on? Do we need to weed our gardens a little more? The weeds are our limiting thoughts. And here's the parable of the sower. A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. And it sprang up quickly, but the soil was shallow, and when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up quickly and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Our receptivity to the good that Spirit is ever sharing depends on the condition of our minds and our hearts. Are we filled with receptivity and willingness to do the work? Are our minds and hearts filled with the patience and commitment to live in grace and love and joy and ease? It's up to us. We get to decide. We get to decide how we're going to live. Mark Nepo went on to say, we need to give up what no longer works and find new ways of being that keep us up close to what matters. What matters to you? Today, when I really, my prayer is that we all leave close to what matters to us. I know today, we get reminders all the time. Living gracefully matters to me. What matters to me is being in alignment with my truth so I don't live, well, I can get up quickly from reactive energy, from defensiveness, and be at peace for myself and others. Because we live in a universe of oneness, so who we are doesn't just affect ourselves. It affects all of us. So today, to keep the fertile soil of our hearts and minds, I'm just going to invite us to lean into the genius within, to celebrate the life that we've been given, whether it's filled right now with challenges or opportunities. Everything is an opportunity, but shows up as a challenge or a great opportunity. It's all a way to express and know who we really are. I'm going to invite us to recognize the beauty within right now. So just say, something wonderful is in me right now.
Something wonderful is in me right now.
It is perfection.
It is perfection.
It is beauty.
It is beauty.
It's harmony.
Harmony.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
And lots of love.
And lots of love.
That's right. So my wish for us today is we leave here with the confidence, the patience, the persistence, and the willingness to celebrate ourselves wherever we are on this journey of growth. I have, today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is truer than you. Thank you. Today I'd like to have our reading, and as you really feel that you're ready to celebrate who you are, do not give yourself away to any old thoughts, old beliefs, old stuff, block and junk. We're going to read this together, and I'm going to invite you to stand, not this, there's another reading, because this is really true. It's very, actually I like the Cat in the Hat, but this one is more Ernest Holmes reading. So we're going to say, you know what? I'm going to tell you, if somebody decides not to stand, that's fine too. Because we'll make sure a practitioner comes over and helps. Because that we want the fertile soil for all of us, but sometimes we just can't get there by ourselves, and that's okay. So let's read this together wherever you are. My heart is open, and my mind is full of love. I see and accept the goodness all around me. Only stand if you're willing to stand and celebrate the greatness and the goodness and the beauty and the love in you. If not, just sit down. Okay. I recognize and accept that abundance is my birthright. I let go of all resistance to prosperity, and it comes to me naturally. I know all is well in my world. I say yes to all the prosperity and opportunity in my life. I receive God's generous blessings gratefully, and I share with a loving and joyful heart. I live in a state of fulfillment, abundant love, and ever-flowing joy in my life. And just before you say this last one, just say, I celebrate myself.
I celebrate myself.
I really do.
I really do.
And turn to somebody you didn't come with and say, and I celebrate you.
I celebrate you.
Turn to somebody else and say, and I celebrate you. Because as we celebrate together, we make this life more beautiful. And now, let's read together that last line. Thank you, God, and so it is. I bless each and every